Hi there. I wanted to take a moment and talk to you about how realtors find value. I'm Joe Fostolo with Soldera Properties, and there's a lot of numbers swirling around that are important to particular entities that swirl around a particular property. Insurance companies have replacement cost. If there's a disaster, they need to know the cost to rebuild it exactly as it was. You get your tax assessment, you have your tax assessment value, and then if you look at the tax assessment, it also has the tax assessment market value. You can go online and go to Zillow and see your Zestimate, and you can go find that at Trulia and Realtor.com and Redfin, and all the sites will give you a ballpark value. I want to take a moment to sort of dispel all of those numbers. Although for insurance, knowing replacement cost is important for an insurance company to know what it would cost to replace and make it exactly as it was before, we're dealing with selling a property, and the only thing relevant in selling a property is market value. And market value is the highest obtainable price you can get in a reasonable amount of time without being a pain in the rear end. So I want to take a moment to dispel some of those other numbers that you see online. It seems to be, if you went to a Zillow's estimate, for example, if that number is an accurate number, it seems to be more of a coincidence than the norm. It's usually 50 or 100 grand high or 50 or 100 grand low. And once in a while they get it right, but usually not a lot. So the reason for that is it will take homes that have sold in the area similar to your lot size, your home size, the same age of your home, and they'll just say, okay, all of these homes sold, we got a price per foot, and this is what your house should sell for within this range. But it isn't accurate simply because I've sold homes built by the same builder, exact same floor plan down to the square foot, right across the street from one another, and one sold for $100,000 more than the other simply because it was remodeled fully 3 months before it went on the market, and the other one was original, it was a rental, it was in bad shape. So these are the things that I need to assess to find out value for your home. And a lot of people say, Joe, you've been licensed since 1991. Just tell me what it's worth. And I do, and I will. It will be the last email that I send you. But I've found that if we discover the price together, then those little question marks that pop up in the back of your mind won't, because we sort of answered those questions and filled in the blanks. So the first thing I do is I have to see your home, which I probably already did or I will be. And once I know your layout and condition and location and the style of home and lot size and your amenities improvements, then I know what I can compare to your home that has most recently sold. So the first step was meeting you, getting a tour of your home, me asking lots of questions and taking lots of notes, and then going back and looking at sort of the broad spectrum of homes. And what I do is I create a search with all statuses. I want to know what's active on the market now. That's your competition. I want to know what's contingent or bumpable. Someone made an offer on it, but it's subject to something happening. I want to know what's sale pending. But I also want to know other similar homes to yours that are withdrawn, expired, and canceled. Because if those homes are similar to yours, and they went on the market and 6 months or 9 months or a year goes by and they didn't sell, then the canceled, withdrawn, expired listings sort of defines the ceiling of these prices for that house similar to yours was ineffective, and ultimately it didn't sell and they took it off the market and the people are still there. So I want to look and see anything that might possibly be considered as a comp. And I don't really know what it's going to be until I first do my initial search. And I'm going to search all statuses in a geographical area, your neighborhood or extended neighborhood. I'm going to take into consideration the age of your home, the size of your home, the size of your lot, and any and all improvements you might have done over time. And that will give us the first list. And we will have homes above your price range and homes below your price range. But I kind of want you to see everything. And the reason for this is sometimes when I just tell someone a price, they're like, gosh, how do I know it's not worth 50 grand more? Or, gosh, that's 50 grand higher than what I expected. Well, you'll get to discover the price with me and see the ones I exclude and why. So I start with broad brushstrokes, anything that might be considered a comp. If you have a home that's 2,500 square feet, I'm probably going to exclude the 5,000 square foot homes because it's just way too big. And I'm also going to exclude if it's only 1,000 feet. So I'm going to put a range of, if it's 2,500 feet, I might put 2,000 to 3,000, for example. I might fudge that up and down depending on the activity that the neighborhood gets. I'm going to look at the year. If your home was built in, let's say, 1965, I probably shouldn't be looking at homes built 2000 or newer, and I probably don't want to look at the ones built in 1900 or 1910. So this gives us broad brushstrokes of all statuses of let's look at everything and let's take it back as long as we have a consistent market. So sometimes the market changes rapidly and sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes we only go back 3 months. If it's increasing at a rapid pace or decreasing at a rapid pace. But if it seems to be constant, sometimes we go back 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. If it's a rural area, sometimes 24 months, just to see the comps, and then we adjust it for the current market. So the broad brushstrokes is so you can see absolutely everything on first blush. Then we're going to refine. The ones that are least similar to yours are going to be tossed out, whether it's a higher price than yours or bigger lot or nicer, or if it's smaller and a lower price and smaller lot, we'll paint with a little bit finer brush strokes, and we're going to take a look at that. Now, I mentioned all the statuses, which is very important. Active tells you what your competition is. But if an active home should be listed here, but it's listed here, then add time to this, 6 months, 9 months, or a year, it will end up being one of those expired, canceled, withdrawn. So the active listings only show you kind of what's on the market, but it doesn't mean they're necessarily priced well, and people get it wrong all the time. Obviously, everybody wants more money than less money, and some people try that on the market, and time will tell, and then it ends up being expired and withdrawn. Pending sales and bumpable sales do give us important information. What's important is the list price is close enough to the sale price that somebody made an acceptable offer and it is accepted. A bumpable one means they have to first do something, close a home or have a contractor look at it or whatever. Pending is they made an offer, it's been accepted, you're in pending status. Usually the delta of what you ask versus what you can get is normally 3% in our current market. So if you should be at 800,000 is the value of your house, you can increase it up to about 3%, and you're still kind of going to be in that range. When you go beyond 3%, then all of a sudden you're marketing to a different class. So 3% of 800,000 is 24,000. So you have a house for 800,000, you ask 8.25, you're probably right in there. Horseshoes and hand grenades, you're just close enough. But let's say you're at 875. Now you're marketing to the wrong people and you're invisible to the correct people. So if you have an $800,000 house in this example and you're at 875, the people looking at your house are going to be qualified for 850 to 9.25. And they're going to be looking at those houses all day long. And then they're going to see yours that, in this example, is overpriced. And they never say, hey, let's offer these people 800. They just say, well, gosh, that other one had another garage, it had another bedroom, it had another half bath, it had a bigger lot, it had this, that, and the other. So they'll look at it and then keep their buying journey going until they find what they want to find. All the while, if you should be at 800 in this example, you're going to get people looking from 750 to maybe 8.25. And if you were priced correctly, you would be on their search and they would want to see it. But you're not, because the price is higher and their search criteria doesn't even show it to them. So you're invisible to the correct market and you're marketing to the wrong market. And that's why pricing is so important. So we paint with finer brush strokes to get rid of the ones least like yours. And now we're starting to build some properties that are most similar to yours. Now, the value in doing a market analysis is really looking at the solds. A sold is proven in history. It's in black and white. That house that's that size on that size lot and that condition sold for this amount on this day. Whereas active homes, pending, bumpable, we won't know what they actually will get or what it sold for until it is sold. So that's why we focus primarily on the solds. And as we paint with finer and finer brush strokes, we're going to get a range. And it's like, okay, your home, we started with a range like this, and then a range like this, and then like this, and then we have a narrow range. And what we're going to look at is, here's the high, here's the low. Where does your house, for condition, style, layout, size, age of the roof, age of the systems, the sewer, the plumbing, the electrical, where do you fit? Are you on the high or the low or somewhere in the middle? And that's how we determine pricing. And it's always great to price it competitively, because asking too much money sort of bites you. I've given recommendations to people on pricing, and they said, hey, Joe, we got this much money into it. We're moving, to a place that is a very high cost of living, so we need this much money out of the house. We paid this much for it. We put this much into it. We want this much. We deserve this much. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter to the buying population. The buying population wants the best house, best location, best condition, biggest house, biggest lot, lots of garages, bedrooms, bathrooms, remodeled kitchen for the lowest price. So that's their objective. And they don't care if you're moving to a higher cost of living or what you paid or what you have into it. When I do market value is market value. At that point, you can determine if it's worth it to sell or you want to wait around a little longer, entirely up to you. But I'm going to give you an honest to goodness, good price that has been very, very well researched. And through the emails, you will see that yourself. So then when I come up with price, one of my brokers asked me about finding value and explaining it to sellers. And I said, gosh, explaining value to sellers is probably one of the most difficult things to do. Take someone who is an engineer or an accountant or something. It's pretty easy. If you have two of something and you have two more of something, you have exactly four of something. You don't have more than four, you don't have less than four, you have exactly four. It's a math problem. But people don't realize that there's a lot of intangibles that affect pricing. For example, take a one-level home. Everybody can buy a one-level home. Not everybody can buy a tri-level home. If it has lots of stairs, for example, stairs from the sidewalk up to the front door, and then you get to the front door, and then it's a tri-level, that usually excludes obese people, elderly people, handicapped people, and the only one who can buy it is a young, able-bodied person or family, right? A ranch-style home, they can all buy that. Elderly, handicapped, obese, and an able-bodied, healthy family, young family can also buy it. The price per foot is sort of on a variable. Ranch-style homes, one levels, are one of the most expensive homes to buy. And there aren't very many of them. Builders have figured out a long time ago that, let's say you build a 2,000 square foot ranch-style home. A lot of expense goes into the sewer line, the utilities, water, and you have to build an expensive footprint, and you also have to put a roof on it. Plywood and paper and whatever roofing material you use, those two things are big expenses. Well, if they just went up another floor, they would still have those same exact expenses, but they will have doubled their square footage. And so that's why not a lot of builders focus on one-level homes. They try and maximize the square footage and maximize the benefit of their foundation and their roof. So when I go look at the house, I'm looking at, as of this video being made, I started in 1991, so, over 34 years of selling homes like yours, thousands of them, 2 people and 4 people. And there's things I know that I can't prove on a spreadsheet, and I can't add up like a math problem. It's just based on location and amenities and the style of home. I can tell you the price and the range, and I'm going to try and bring you through the process so we discover it together. But ultimately, I can't tell you at the end that you take 2 of these and add 1, you have 3, not more than 3, not less than 3, and that just comes from here. But I probably take 3 times as much time as I need to, but I need to be convinced, unwavering, what the price is, and I will have a strategy, and I will give you a recommended price range. And if you said, hey Joe, we kind of want to maybe push the envelope a little bit just to see we're not leaving money on the table, I work with people on that too. We can try a tiny bit higher as long as we don't sit there too long. The most activity that your house will see will be in the first 2 to 3 weeks. And the market is very articulate. So every time someone sees your house, I email them a questionnaire. What do you think of price, condition, location? Was it a showing or a preview? What's needed for saleability? What do you think that price will be? Not everybody answers these questionnaires, but I have it sent to them 6 times until they get so sick of it they actually end up answering it. Or they continue to ignore me, and then I call them and try and find out as much feedback as possible. And I share that feedback with you. So that's the long version of what we're doing here. This is the initial broad brushstrokes, but now you know the method of my madness and many emails coming to you soon in the near future. You'll see that list getting refined and my specific recommendation. I hope that sheds a little light on this, and by all means, video doesn't replace calling me or meeting in person and asking me your questions. I'm more than happy to answer any and all questions you have, because I want you to be participant in this process, and I want you to be as convinced on price as I am, or at least convinced on the starting price as I am, and maybe make adjustments later. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you, and there are going to be more emails coming to your email soon. Thanks a bunch.